Yeah, I just had a question. So, with all the good news, obviously Visa, BNY Mellon, MasterCard, existing financial systems that are embracing Bitcoin obviously sounds good. And I think, any way to get value that exists today, whether it's stocks, cash, or whatever, into digital assets is positive. Those rails are positive. But what would you say to critics who say, like, well, if, all the banks are getting into it, if Visa is getting into it, doesn't that just, go back to the old system of the big institutions controlling the money, except this time the money is just digital assets? How would you respond to a critic like that?
That's a great question. I mean, I have mixed feelings about it myself. I guess let me give both perspectives, right? So obviously having monolithic, these too big to fail banks owning the crypto markets is somewhat defeatist when it comes to the reason why Bitcoin is so special. Now, that having been said, I've always predicted that Bitcoin would be hoarded until it was worth trillions of dollars, and then it would become interesting as a payment system. And it just stands to reason that the wealthiest will unfortunately get the bulk of that. There are a lot of new billionaires being minted via Bitcoin, which is great. But I think banks ultimately are going to have no choice because I think their traditional businesses are going to die. And the question is going to become who is going to enable all of the person-to-person payment services, all of the merchant payment services. So even if you're holding Bitcoin in a hardware wallet in your pocket or on your phone, right, you're still going to want to pay a merchant, and merchants are going to need help accepting those payments. And I think that banks and merchant processors are going to have a role to play there. Although I honestly think the biggest players in crypto over time are actually going to be companies that didn't exist at the beginning of crypto, whether it's companies like Abra that are basically building kind of this next generation crypto banking system, or companies like Coinbase and other exchanges. I also think you're going to see a whole new kind of DeFi based ecosystem emerge, and companies are going to have to add value versus these DeFi systems where the DeFi systems don't necessarily need the companies to function. And so you'll see a whole bunch of companies that provide a really slick user experience on top of DeFi so that customers can actually do things like generate yield, like earning interest or making investments without necessarily having to understand the complexity of DeFi. So while I'm all about the core tenets of DeFi and crypto and all that stuff, it's still going to require a lot of entrepreneurship to get it to work. And that's exciting, right? And so we'll see where the big companies ultimately fit in. But if you think about it in the context of the internet itself, the most important companies on the internet today were created explicitly to service the internet, right? It's Facebook, it's Amazon, it's Google. The biggest exception is probably Apple, but they're at their core, a computer company that's translated into the phone. So I think the same thing is going to happen with Bitcoin and crypto in general. Okay.